so you started at least like your first major release was on Decadence.
Yeah.
And like that was like, how did you meet Pete Wentz? I don't like, it's a weird connection. You don't know.
No, I think my manager at the time kind of like sort of knew him a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think he just sent him some of my stuff. And we had been talking to other labels at the time. It was like before I put anything like really, really out. So yeah, we were talking to a bunch and he was really stoked about it. So went there and
this was after Tantrum Castle?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. That's cool. I didn't think you would know what that was.
Come on, man.
I don't know. I just assumed nobody heard that.
You underplay that because I remember you tweeted about it a few weeks ago or a month ago, and you're like, I didn't know anyone knew about Tantrum Castle, and I was like, that's one of like my favorite records.
I had no idea.
It's just, but it like I think the charm of it. I mean, obviously it's like it's your first work, so you listen to it and you're like, okay, like. You were learning.
It's like some weird garage band.
But that was kind of the beauty of it, is that it's like it's so raw. It's
that's
like
true.
It's very underproduced because you were super young when you made it. But it was one of those. But so it was after that. Like you released that one, and then somehow Fall Out Boy came into.
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
How does that?
Time just sped up, and then it was just blank space between
it was just
there and
you
there.
put out a record, and then all of a sudden you're touring.
Kind of. I put that out when I was in high school, or it was like a month after I graduated, and I was on tour on a hardcore band, playing drums. And
what was the name of it?
It was called Saints Never Surrender.
That's right.
Yeah. And it was like kind of this thing where I just wanted to tour really bad, and so I did that, and it was fun. But pretty shortly into it, I was like, I don't think this is what I should be, focusing all my time on. So I went back fully into Ready Set mode. Put out Tantrum Castle, and then I started just booking a ton of tours like on my own, which were like just the most kind of all over the place bizarre
How does that
things.
even like, so as an independent artist, like did you tour with anyone, or was it like it was just headlining, or like how does
it was kind of everything.
It was
like I would just basically choose these routing things, and I did it all through like MySpace or whatever, and I think that was predominantly it. So I would be like, I want to play in these places, and I would like just hit up like promoters and just kind of venues even, and just try to like find bands in these areas to be like, hey, let's like set up a show. Like I can hopefully get this many people here from me, and if you guys can get this many, I think we could like make it really good. And so I just did a bunch of that, and then I ended up getting like a manager who helped me out early on, which led me to my second manager. So then it was just like this really slow like kind of like build thing.
So it wasn't like a rocket.
No, it was a couple years, like 2.5 years before anything really like connected outside of like MySpace and Pure Volume or whatever.
But like so like the initial touring and like getting the shows, it was all pretty much based on like MySpace numbers.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like because I mean this is probably what, like 2007,
this is 2006,
8.
So I started the Ready Set like the last month of 2007, I think. And then 2008 was like when I graduated high school. So I spent that whole year just on MySpace, like 8 hours a day, like trying to like build something. Like I had this goal in my head. I was like, by the time
people don't do that anymore. It's like I feel like people don't know how to hustle anymore.
I don't know. I think they kind of do. I think there's a lot of it happening with like SoundCloud and like I don't know. It's kind of all over the place. It just takes different shapes, I think, sometimes. But I was like, I had this idea. I was like, if I can have enough of like a fan base off this thing to like book a tour after I graduate and like confidently know there'll be people at these shows, like then I'll keep doing this. Like it was sort of like this test thing. I like would put these like time frames on it, and I'd be like, if this works up until here, I'll do more, and if it works up until here, I'll do more. And it kept hitting those like goals pretty quickly.
Like,
so I was like, well,
I can actually do this.
I guess this is my job now. So yeah, it was it definitely all came from that. Just
MySpace. Yeah. I mean, I think people underestimate back then like the power of that, because like that was kind of the only social media then.
Yeah, it was
especially
that,
like pre 2009 and 10, before like Facebook and Twitter and all, mainly like YouTube. I mean, because YouTube didn't really blow up until like 2008. Yeah. But
MySpace was the
thing. Like how do you feel about being one of like the only, I guess, surviving people from that era, like who is like you're still doing music, you're still in it.
I feel, I don't know,
because like there's like, I mean, there's so many bands coming out of that. I mean, mainly like, you know, I guess you and like there's like Jeffree Star and a few other people that are from that era, but like,
yeah, I don't know, I never really think too much about it. Like it's one of those things that I don't know. It's cool. Like, it's cool. Like, it's one of those things. Like,
it was a very interesting time. Yeah, I remember it.
There's some people who I'll talk to who are like, "Man, that's cool. You were around during that. I wish I could have been around during that." And I'm like, I don't know. It was kind of goofy. Like, it was pretty funny. Like, you could tell what bands were like gaming the system, just like buying stuff. Like, and everyone, people were getting like record deals.
Nothing has changed. It's the same.
People were getting signed off of like a haircut and like a giant banner on the top of your page with you like looking like cute in a purple V-neck or whatever.
That's so true though.
So I don't know.
Everyone was like that, but but then after that, you know, obviously you had your big hit. Was Love Like one of the first?
Yeah,
that was your first, and that was I've read some stuff about how that all went down, but it's like you didn't know. I mean, obviously, most of the time people don't know that it's gonna. You were just like, oh, this is a cool song.
Yeah, I didn't like it,
and then it just. All of a sudden, and now you got your big hit. So how did obviously that kind of shaped, like, did that open opportunities for you? And like, like, how did
it basically like changed my
blew
entire
up
life?
everything.
Sort of.
Yeah.
In a weird way too. Cause I was like, I didn't want to do radio stuff. I didn't even want that to be the single. Like, I was like, nobody's going to like this song.
It's so catchy.
So
I mean, like pretty much every song on that record, I remember was very, very catchy.
Thanks.
Yeah, well, you know, but
yeah, it was weird. Like, and I got it. Like the label was like, we think we can go to radio with it, and I'm like, okay, good luck with that. It's not gonna work. And then it just kind of worked really slowly. Like, it just kind of went, and then really weird. It did, like, it changed a lot of stuff. It made touring. Like, I remember
touring.
Yeah, I just remember this like span of like 1 month of where like the shows like just took this turn where it was like going pretty well, and then it was like, oh my god, there's like a lot more people here now,
real.
And people like actually care, and I'm like, I am terrified.
They didn't care before,
like they just cared differently.
It was a different type of fan, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because I remember, at least in my perspective, like for when I was doing underground shows, it's like before you become known for anything, it's like, I don't know, like it's obviously a lot more intimate, but I don't know, like, I guess there's less excitement. I don't know. Like, how it like a kind of more underground fan versus like when you blow up.
Well, the thing I liked actually the most about that thing was that the underground, like the ones who were there from the very beginning, were kind of like extra excited about it. Like they were like, it was like bringing people on this like ride with you.
Yeah.
I'm like, so like there's people who are still like, they're from that like time period pre, you know, radio stuff, pre anything, who are still like around. And like whenever I put out new stuff, they're like, hey, I've been here since 1,000 years ago. And I'm like,
been here since Tantrum Castle. You still see those.
It's wild. It's cool. I don't know.
And like Tantrum Castle, that was your first. I mean, did you do stuff before that one?
Yeah.
That was your first like collection of solo stuff, because you did stuff before, like you were doing music before that.
Yeah, there was actually an EP I put out before called Syntax and Bright Lights, and it had 6 songs that are insane. Like, I think those first two, like the EP and the first album, were just like, I didn't really know how to like write songs, and I was like, I like catchy, cool melodies, and I like electronic, like blippy stuff, but I didn't want it to be too poppy.
You put a cover, or like around then you had a cover. I forget the name of it.
It was Swedish Girl. It was the Wyclef song.
I remember it was like that was a thing back then with all the MySpace people would cover like know songs that wouldn't match them.
Definitely. It was kind of a wave of that stuff, but yeah, that was me. Just like all those lyrics and all those things were all just like stream of consciousness, me just like throwing weird things out kind of, and I don't know, there's something kind of fun about that. So like I started kind of doing that again sometimes, and then you kind of focus it, but I wasn't editing myself at all back then. I was just like, this is the song.
That's what I was saying earlier about it's like it has a certain kind of magic to it in that regard, that it's like it is totally raw, but you also produced all that as well. Like that was your first step into like making beats and like
produced.
Well, you know, you made it yourself.
I made it all in like an iBook, in GarageBand, my basement. I made Love Like Whoa
the
on
first iteration of GarageBand.
Yeah, it was great.
You did make love, so yeah, oh, that's cool. Yeah, but so as far as the MySpace era, what were what were some of your favorite bands from that era? Like, I mean, it can be Shameless, you know,
like bands like from that like scene
kind of like Breathe Carolina, like all that kind of deal. The swoopy hair folk.
The swoopy boys.
The swoopy boys.
I don't know. Honestly, like a lot of them that I was into, I ended up kind of becoming friends with. Like, I remember when I was 16, I remember listening to the first like Boys Like Girls record.
Yeah.
And then like Cute Is What We Aim For.
That's right, because you toured with all those guys.
Yeah,
like
it was
lot,
weird.
Which is great. Like All American Rejects. You toured with them. Like
all those bands that I was like, this
deal.
is cool. Yeah, I remember like looking at that like Fueled by Ramen, like that wave of that stuff, like Cute Is What We Aim For, like Cobra Starship, and The Academy Is, and Gym Class Heroes.
Oh man,
and
yeah,
being
that's
like,
right.
I want to be in this like world, and then I just focused
and you
like
toured with all
on
of those guys,
trying to sort of like go that way, and then within like 2 years, it's like I was like, oh, now I'm kind of friends with these people a little bit, and I'm like, I feel sort of awkward about that because I'm like, yeah, I've been listening to you for a while. And
well, that's kind of, I don't know. It's like, it was and still is a relatively small scene.
Yeah.
You know, there's only, 10, 15 artists, and I don't know. If like you have to like the people you tour with, otherwise it's absolutely miserable.
Yeah, but there's a lot of bands that didn't like really
they kind of rejected it.
Out. Like they didn't get out of like, they didn't like break the thing that I thought were like so cool. And I was just like, dang.
Like who?
I don't know. There was this one band we toured with. They were the nicest dudes, and they're called Mercy Mercedes.
I remember they played Warped Tour a few times. I bought a Mercy Mercedes shirt because I forget, it was like something about a mosh pit. I don't know. Yeah, they had like the really
true,
gimmicky
like,
shirts.
Yeah, it was like true neon like pop stuff, and I was like, this is great.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was like that's like a perfect like encapsulation of like 2008, like that scene, like that band was it.
The V's were deep. The Nike Dunks
the chest
were high.
hair was poking. You know, it was the thing.
Headbands were all over the place.
I kind of miss like. Do you almost prefer the fashion of that era compared to like now? Like how like I don't know. A part of me misses it. Part of me it's a little cheesy, but like
I don't know.
I'm kind of into it.
I bounce back and forth with stuff I like so much. So like there's stuff.
Gotta rock that deep V sometimes. Sometimes.
Man, the deeper the better. Take it to the belly button, I always say. I don't know.
I remember like walking around Warped Tour, and some of the guys had like you could tell they just took scissors and just like the V, like they just like it's not deep enough. It's
simply not deep enough.
It's simply not. It's like all the hardcore bands were just like, nope.
We have to go deeper.
We have to go deeper.
No, I don't know. I think the interesting thing I've been noticing is things are like really cyclical, especially with like music and fashion stuff. So I've been noticing a little bit more of like that thing sort of like resurfacing.
Well, definitely with all like emo scene culture, it's been about a decade. So like people are starting to get nostalgic.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they're just like, oh, that was kind of cool. I like that. Because I mean, it did have like a very like I don't give a fuck kind of vibe to it, and people resonate with that. So I have, especially with like emo night. I saw that like did you perform at one of those, or did you just went?
I have a couple times. I think I've DJ'd it like 3 times, and then like I did a Ready Set show, and I did a Nico Cat show with my other band, and those are the homies. They've always been really cool with like helping like promote stuff with me, and they're rad. And you can like walk to it too, so that's really convenient.
It's right around here. Like emo night has been a very interesting like resurgence of that culture. But really cool. But as far as your style goes, like throwing back nostalgia versus now, it's like how you wrote music before. Obviously, like you've matured since then, but I remember the consistent thing is obviously like your rapid fire flows and like just like your style. But have you changed up? Because I know it's especially on like the most recent EP or like V1 and V2 and all that. It's more like maybe EDM. It's more like drop centric, and you're kind of going that direction. But like, do you feel there's been kind of a shift at all, or like, do you just kind of write what you feel like?
Yeah, I just kind of do whatever. But for a while, I was doing a bunch of like dance collaborations with like DJs and stuff like that, and I still do that a little bit. But I think that sort of like inspired like a slightly different like production style than before. But I think I'm leaning more away from drop type things now. I don't know. I just kind of
you kind of just do what you want. Because like, I've noticed it's gone back and forth because like obviously on your EP, like, you know, it's not all of that. It's just a few things, but I've noticed that was different than what you would normally do.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't honestly think too much.
You don't really like think about you just like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm having a good time with this.
Yeah, like this is what it is. This is what this EP is going to be, and that's it. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like the less
that's kind of refreshing because I feel like everything, at least now, I don't know, all the stuff coming out, it's very meticulous and it's almost, I don't know, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
So have you, like, I noticed 4 or 5 years ago, at least on your YouTube channel, you've posted like Q&As and just random little tidbits. Yeah. But like you don't really do that much anymore. But have you ever considered like getting back into the YouTube thing, like more video related stuff? Because I feel like you would kill it. I don't know.
A lot of people have said that. I think I would maybe be okay at it. It makes me like
you're just not
weirdly anxious. I don't know why. Like, it's not that I'm not into it because I get it and I think it's cool. I just think I don't know. Something about it is so like daunting to me. Like,
it's a different beast.
Yeah, even just shooting like music videos is by far my least favorite thing about music.
Really? Why? I don't know. I mean,
it just stressed me out.
I love shooting music videos, but not the actual act of doing it. I love like seeing it done.
That's the thing I like the least.
This is so cool. Like it really like brings the song together. And like, I mean, you've done a bunch of music videos in the past.
Yeah. And even the ones that I've done, like I'll watch them once or twice. No, I can't.
Really?
Yeah. I just can't. I don't know. I just feel like I just feel so like fake in them for some reason. Like I never.
Well, I mean, are you like you feel like maybe you're just like you're intentionally playing it up for the camera like a little too much, or you're being self-conscious about it? Well, I mean, is it kind of like hearing your own voice in recordings?
Oh yeah, I hate it. You know, it's that's the best way to put it. Like I think the dog and cat are like playing upstairs.
They're being good boys.
They're being good boys. Yeah, I don't know. You guys okay?
They're doing good.
You just need to relax.
They're doing good. They're chilling.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just that thing. Like I just feel like I'll look at myself and be like, oh, I'm not very cool. Like,
I mean, have you ever edited your own music?
Not my own music videos.
They're killing each other. Have you? Well, because I found if you edit your own videos, you can kind of stomp out your insecurities because you're like, oh, I don't look good there.
That's true.
You can choose. You're like, yeah, because I mean, obviously you have access to all the footage, but you can be like, cut out all the bad stuff.
All right. That's
what I'm saying. YouTuber secrets.
Yeah, but for real.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I just didn't feel like I don't think I have a lot of stuff to talk about. You know, I don't know what I wouldn't want to just like put up stuff just to be like I exist. I'd rather it be like, you know what I do like actually.
90% of YouTube. What did I do today?
What did I do today? Well, I think like, okay, if next time I go on tour or do like any string of shows,
a tour vlog or something.
Yeah, like that type of thing where if I could have somebody out with me who's like filming and at the end of the day, like we're like putting something together with like some, you know, whatever, just making something like that.
Making it pretty.
That I think that would be like my favorite thing to do, just because it's not like I just can't sit and like talk to a camera myself because.
It's like,
oh my god,
they're being less good boys now.
Yeah, they're doing this right now. They do this when people come over, and they're very good friends, but they just get hyped up and then they start like, it sounds like zombies up there.
That's okay.
Yeah.
They're fighting over a piece of meat. So you just leave pieces of meat around the apartment.
Yeah, there's little steaks up there. And I think I thought they're gonna come barreling down the stairs, but not yet.
That's okay. We'll get to it anyway.
More on that.
Yeah, more on that later. But as far as I guess, do you ever listen to your own music?
Yeah, so like a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not like because I'm like, this is so good.
Be like, oh man, I'm the best. Like
it's always just like production stuff. I'll be like, this needs to. I just listen to stuff so much to make sure it's good, which everybody does that. But yeah. I mean, I'm not like recreationally being like,
put it on in the car real quick.
Yeah, like I have a party and I'm like, we're gonna listen to all my stuff.
Like, you heard this new song? It's by me.
Yeah, you're gonna love it.
I mean, yeah. So as far you were part of a project called Bride and Groom early on.
Yeah.
Was that before the Ready Set?
Yeah, that was like the precursor.
That was the precursor. Was it just you?
It was me and my friend Victor, and he played guitar, and we both sang. And yeah, it was like an acoustic version, kind of like what I ended up.
It was kind of like honing your skill. I mean, because obviously, like you were like, are you naturally gifted at singing, or do you learned how to do it?
I learned how to sing like kind of from doing that. Like that was the first time I had ever sung. I was like 15 or 16, and I didn't know I could sing. I just knew I could like harmonize to stuff.
Yeah, well, you had ideas.
Yeah, like I was like, I'm bad at singing, but like I think I can maybe get good.
Anyone can learn it. You just practice. You just do it. If you want it bad enough, just like these Scalera lenses. If you want it bad enough, you can. Yeah.
And then I Ready Set stuff. Actually, the way I learned how to like sing and like hit pitches, like and know what it feels like to hit the right pitch without necessarily hearing it was like I was using like an auto-tune rack when I first started touring, and it was like such a novelty
Was it
thing.
like the Antares?
Yeah,
I was the same. Yeah, there you go.
And like it was a thing where like people weren't doing that a lot live, so they'd hear it and be like, "That's exciting," and that sounds like T-Pain. That's cute.
It was like you and like a rocket to the moon. I remember like 2007.
Yeah, and then using that, like it taught me like how like where to like land and where to like.
It does help you land it a little better, even if you.
Yeah, and then like a couple years later, my sound guy on a tour was like, yeah, I'm blending it like a little bit. Like, there's a little bit of tuning. And I was like, okay, cool. And I felt like confident. And then like 6 months later, he was like,
kind of like training wheels.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, I never turned it on. Like, you never had it. He's like, you're fine. I was like, oh. It's like, actually, thanks. Because that's like,
yeah, well,
helpful.
No, it's one of those things where it's like, I think initially, I mean, it was a mix of like, correct me if I'm wrong, it was like a stylistic choice, but also it was like, you know, you were learning how to sing too.
Exactly, yeah.
And like Melodyne wasn't a thing yet, but,
yeah,
you know, but as far...
I still love how Auto-Tune sounds, though.
I mean...
It's my favorite.
It's coming back, too, with the whole...
It never really left, I feel like.
You're right. It really did. Well, no, there was a lull, but now with, you know, the rise of, like, mumble rap and SoundCloud, like, everyone's using Auto-Tune. Have you ever, like, since you're... I mean, like, at least your verses a lot of the time they're, like... I mean, I wouldn't consider them rap or hip-hop, but it's very, very close. Would you ever consider, like, collaborating with that scene?
Yeah,
or like doing something with those guys?
That'd be sick.
Yeah,
that'd be very sick. I have like a bunch of like friends in that like world, sort of, that I don't know. I just like haven't made it happen yet, but I've talked about it. I just am extremely lazy.
I feel like it would work. I mean, but you're definitely not extremely lazy. We were talking before we started filming. It's like, what are you doing? You're like, I'm working myself to death. Like, this is relatable, man.
Yeah,
I mean, it's constantly just working on stuff. But I've noticed on your social media, you're not ultra active on it. Is that purposeful? You're just are you just not into it?
I just got sad about it for a while.
Why?
I don't know.
Were people very? I mean, they're cruel.
No, people are so nice.
Yeah, like, really.
Because I don't have enough going on right now.
What's that like?
I just don't have enough going on right now for anyone to come out of the shadows and be like, fuck that guy, that's bad. Right. Like, it's all just people who have been like my fans for a while. So it's positive and good, but I just feel like right now, like, unless I'm putting stuff out, I just don't want to talk. Like, I don't want to be just like presenting, I don't know, just stuff. Like,
that's like half the battle of social media is, I mean, because I've considered like getting rid of all, just like, you know, just do YouTube music, and because a lot of the times it does feel like a waste of time, and like you're just saying things just to say it, and you know, you want to be purposeful with what you do, but at the end, like on the other hand, it is a great way to connect with, like, you know, and like your fans want to feel like they're your friend, and to a certain extent they are, and
I'm gonna pop. I mean, I kind of like I've been off of both things. I mean, I've been like looking at Twitter and looking at Instagram and stuff, but I haven't put anything up on either for like a few weeks. I'm probably gonna sort of figure out
what's the goose avatar.
The duck?
The duck.
Yeah, he's at the park down the street. I took that picture. I was having a picnic.
He was having a picnic.
I put some, I don't know what it was. It was like some seeds or something on the ground, and these ducks came on up, and I was like, hello. And that's the rest of history.
And that has been your avatar for...
It's been there for a while, but I have to change it.
Yeah.
When I become
you don't have to change it. Like,
when I get serious about this music thing, I'm probably going to change it.
When you get serious about, okay. So I had this really dumb idea on this tablet. I have various pictures of stages of your hair because your hair has always been very impressive. Like I know it's weird to say.
It's had some weird times.
It's had some, like, you had kind of like a mullet thing going for a while, and like the long hair. What was your favorite? What was your favorite phase? Like
the most recent one was my favorite when it was like really short and like just blue and like straight across, and I was so excited about it. And then everyone got it, and now I don't want it anymore. So I can't win. I'm just gonna grow it back out.
You gotta be a trendsetter, man.
I'm just gonna grow it really long, I think. And
I mean, well, I remember, like, I think that's the first time, like, one of the first times I saw you on the internet. It was a skit with you and Pete Wentz.
Yeah, it was long then,
and it was like
it was very straight,
was crazy.
And it was very like grown out, extremely.
I mean, it was definitely in it. That was a look at the time. Like that was in.
Yeah, and it was questionable. I'll say that.
It must have taken forever to like straighten. And,
you know what?
Like,
not really.
Not really.
It was all pretty quick. Had it down to a science. But now, I mean, I'm trying to just grow it out, but that means now I'm like reverted fully back to 2014 until it gets long enough to not be this. So here we are. Seem to not be able to escape some semblance of like
very
emo
important.
hair.
The hair game is very important. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's just I just don't want to think about it. I just don't. It just haunts me.
This is why I don't do video stuff. I just
don't. Because I'm just gonna.
You don't have to look nice ever.
I'm just gonna be like,
leave your apartment ever. You just record songs. I mean, you do a lot of production for other people.
Yeah, so I have like people coming over all the time, like working with me and stuff. But I mean, I don't think they care how my hair looks. Just wear a hat. They come over. I'm like, don't worry about my hair. Don't look at my hair.
I mean, that's a good way to look at it. But as far as like production goes, I mean, I want to dive in just for a second. Just indulge me here. Like, what do you use? Like how as far as programs like DAWs? What do you?
I've always used Logic just because I learned in GarageBand, and Logic is the same engine basically. So always been Logic. But I use Ableton for shows just so I can like program lighting cues along with it. But
yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that real quick. The lighting, like when I first, like I did my first show in 2011 and I had like DMX strobes, but I remember looking back at your like 2008 to like really old. I was like, how does he do that?
Yeah.
Like how does, like, it was just like a really basic DMX setup or like connected to Ableton?
Pretty much. And I just like, I would take like a keyboard and just assign all the different lights.
Yeah, it was like the MIDI and the different scenes.
Yeah, that was always like, lights were always such a huge part of my thing because I was like, this is pretty much electronic stuff without any like guitars or live instruments. It's just drums and like
just
tracks.
Like kind of like a karaoke thing at the time.
Kind of, yeah. And I was like, I have to have something to make it feel like it's entertaining instead of just a dude singing, because that would be, to me at the time, I was like, that's boring or whatever. And I never did any shows without lights. Like that was like my thing. Like I had to have this full out thing behind me, and I wanted it to be like shadowy. Like I didn't want anyone to see me. Yeah. So I would put all the lights behind me, so it was just black.
It's very relatable. I did the same. I did the exact same thing.
Yeah, and it's because like I saw bands like Breathe Carolina doing that before, and I was like, wow, like
that
the lights,
awesome.
Just like especially cool. Like touring with all like pop punk bands and stuff, and it was all like full out live band stuff.
Fun, like yellow stage lights and
that was like my equivalent to having a live band early on, was like to have something that made it feel like full sort of, and lights were the thing, I guess. But
then you stopped doing.
Yeah, kind of.
Like I think it was like you were like, yeah, I can sing now, and like I don't need. It is a little bit of a crutch, right? I mean,
sure, yeah. And I think like they were fun, and I still like when I do like a headline tour, absolutely will like do the same thing I've always done, like have the whole back thing programmed, but then still have regular venue lights too. But that was the thing, like. We started playing bigger venues and like they had nice lights there, and I was like, okay, well,
these look pretty. These are better than my lights.
Yeah, I don't have to like carry around these like giant towers. Or whatever.
Yeah, no. On my most recent tour, I bought a giant LED wall, and it's super cool, but it's like setting up every day is like a pain in the butt.
It's a lot.
So you want to collab with Lil B, the bass god?
Definitely. Still,
is he still doing stuff?
Yes,
he is.
He's still based. He's based. He's absolutely at it.
I feel like he's one of the first. Like he's before the SoundCloud rap thing happened, but like it's like him and like Riff Raff started it.
He like DM'd me his number, and so I texted him, and he didn't respond. And I want him to respond because I want a little bit.
When was this? This is a while back.
Like 2 years ago. I was like, man, dude, it was this close to
that featured. No, keep doing it. You should text him every day. I'm going until he responds. Lil B, the bass god. But as far as production goes, so you produced how many, like your entire the last Ready Set record, minus the EPs, but your last full length.
Yeah.
You produced all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Was that under a label, or like how did?
Yeah. So the I'll Be Nothing Without Your Love was Hopeless, and I did that all at home pretty much, and then just had my friend mix that, and then even the last one, The Bad and the Better, and I'm Alive, I'm Dreaming.
Did you just like decide?
They were all like
pretty much like you would like put it together and be like,
together, and then
someone would polish it.
Yeah,
or something.
yeah. Some of Bad and the Better I did like from scratch with my friend Ian Kirkpatrick, who's like the best producer ever. But yeah, a lot of it really did just come from me just like messing around in Logic. But yeah, I'll Be Nothing Without Your Love was like the first fully just me kind of doing stuff alone again.
Did you prefer that? Yeah. I mean, I've heard a lot of at least like independent artists. I mean, I guess you're signed to a label, so technically like independent, but I mean, it's pretty. Yeah, it's probably pretty liberating. It was
definitely, because like that was the thing, the first thing I made in a while that was almost back to that like Tantrum Castle type thing. Where I was like, I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck I want.
Back in the basement doing your thing.
Yeah, it felt like that. So that was cool. And then with the two newer ones, like I just have been spending all my time doing production like for other projects and for other like artists and stuff, that like it just became this thing where I was like, there's no reality where I'm going to take anything to another producer now, because I can just do this myself, and like I don't need anyone to mix stuff.
It also just feels a lot more authentic too. It's like if it's just like right from the ground, you're like, I did this. It's like production credit.
And you can keep things consistent, like sonically, like you can keep like a theme of like, I don't know, some sort of elements throughout the whole thing where it's going to sound,
it doesn't sound like a patchwork kind of deal.
Yeah.
So, but as far as your touring history, who's a favorite band that you I mean, I'm not asking you to pick favorites here, but like, what was your favorite tour?
There's three tours that I think I had the most fun on. The first one being four. There's four. I'm gonna do four.
Oh, you're gonna do.
I can't pick just one.
So many,
because they're all for different reasons.
You have to pick one. No, all right, fine. Yeah.
First one was the Bamboozle Roadshow in 2011.
Oh man.
Which was, as far as I understand, not a very successful tour for anyone involved. But for me, I was like,
you're killing it, man.
I was like, this is my first time in a bus. Like, this is so much fun. Yeah. And I loved it, and I had a great time. I don't think anyone else did, but loved it.
Why? It just like the crowds were.
I just think it was supposed to be bigger than it was or whatever, but it was big to me. So.
That was like kind of a Warped Tour.
Yeah.
The
festival of Bamboozle was like the greatest thing. It was huge, but so that was good. Then the Glamour Kills Tour was my first big like headliner where I was like, wow, this is working. Hooray.
I saw that. Yeah, I think I was there like 2012. Was it?
I think it might have been
12?
Yeah, it was the beginning of 2011, I think.
But that was a big tour too. There's a lot of people there.
Like, dang, that was cool. Yeah. And then as far as like bands we supported, I remember we did a tour and it was just me opening with All American Rejects and Boys Like Girls, and they were both like, they both just treated us so well.
Yeah,
and like,
they seem like nice guys.
Just the best, like super chill. And then the finale is 2014 Warped Tour, because I was like,
man, that's spicy.
I was like, 2011 Warped Tour, people didn't really fuck with me so much because they thought, I think it was presented like I was this dude who had like some radio stuff and I was doing radio shows, and then they're like throwing this like pop dude into Warped
like
Tour.
One song,
yeah,
like, I don't know.
And I think a lot of people thought I was like,
wasn't that the year like Blood on the Dance Floor was? I mean, like,
yeah.
Why would
I think people thought I was just like this, like, I don't know, just weird like major label like plant dude who's just like, here, I'm on Warped Tour too. But I was like, no, I've been going to this since I was 13.
What?
And so it was kind of weird. Like the crowds weren't incredible for us. But then 2014, it was like so nice. Like everyone was great.
Did you do anything that year to change that, or did you like add a guitarist to your band or something?
That was the same thing.
He's not playing guitar, so fuck that guy.
I think it was just that like time had passed and like I just kept touring over and over and over, so people didn't maybe see it so much as just like, here's the guy from the song on the radio, which was like never the thing I wanted anyway. So I was like, yes, it's like, this finally feels good now.
That's good. And well, so shifting gears a little bit, after like reading up a bit on you, you don't share your personal life at all.
Not really.
Not really. Is that intentional, or you just don't? It's just not, because like, I mean, like, I don't know if people want to, like, you're married.
Yeah.
And like, I didn't even know that. And
you know,
well, it's just,
I think some people, like a lot of people who like follow stuff,
but as far as like, you know, you do generally keep it pretty focused. I mean, like, because I'm in the YouTube world where like it's just
everything's open
everyone knows everything. And you're like, what did I do this morning? Everyone knows, you know. For as far as you, it's, you know, it's like in my mind, I'm like, okay, he's not really in the YouTube world, but like I feel like, I don't know, did like you do that purposefully?
Kind of, yeah. I think like, I don't know. I just like. I think I like having control over that specific thing.
It's important. Like, I mean, it is incredibly toxic if it goes wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I think like, I don't know. I try to just keep some things like, not that I don't want to like hide anything. Like I would be completely honest about anything, but I just like, I don't know. I'm just like, do people, why does anyone need to like really know unless they ask? If they ask, sure, I'll talk about it all day. But like, I don't know. It's just like one of those things where I don't think like Caitlin, my wife, really like, she's never like really cared at all about like
that's cool
any of that.
I mean, I know a lot of people have like a really like they take it very serious, like the privacy, and it's just like you know, if you're somebody of note and have fans, it's like it can get weird. Or, like, people can show up to your apartment or whatever, you know. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those things. I don't think me or her really care about like presenting like our relationship.
So it's been kind of just like no, you know,
like I'm not like running around pretending I'm not married. Oh, there's the cat. Now they're coming down.
Oh man,
looks like things cooled down for them. And
they ran out of meat. All right,
now they're coming down to see what's happening.
Knock over the camera.
So I don't know. I don't know. I like being kind of like private about stuff.
I mean, it lowers the stress level. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But so is Copeland still your favorite band?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah,
I'd say so. Yeah. I think
who's your number 2 and 3?
Number 2 is probably Saves the Day, maybe.
Yeah.
Number 3.
It doesn't have to be all time. I mean, you can just like what's the person you're listening to right now?
Right now?
Yeah.
I've been listening to Eden a lot. Been listening to a band called Honey that's from here a lot. What else? I don't know. The new 21 Pilots album's good. I listened to it a bunch of times.
What did you? Yeah, I did a whole video on it, but what did you like? So you liked it? Because I mean, I think overall people were really happy with it. Mm-hmm. You know, like I was a little afraid of the singles because I was like, okay, it's different, but I think after repeat listens of the past couple of days, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. It's good.
It makes sense. It's one of those things you have to kind of like
you have to let sink in a little bit because it's different. It's not quite as radio friendly, which is fine. Like I
think it's a cooler move to.
They did that, you know. It's like once you do that, I mean, it's the same. Like do you ever feel the pressure like after having big hits like that or like Killer and all that, like stuff like that? Do you ever feel like you need to make another hit?
I did. That
like that pressure. I mean, my head a lot it's like even the years after. I mean, obviously it was a little bit ago, but it's like, you know, you have that one hit, you're like, okay, I gotta stay up there.
Yeah. No, I felt that way for a long time. Like right after Love Like Whoa happened, and then like Young Forever came out, and it like did like not super good, but then Give Me Your Hand came out, and it did better, and I was like, okay, this is like
ramping up here.
Like this is like, I don't like that feeling. Like that's I don't know. I was working with like really big writers and producers and stuff, and I was like, something's not right here. Like it just feels like I'm chasing something that
doesn't feel organic.
No, and people I think are so like, people are able to see that, especially people who listen to your music.
You can sense it. I mean, people are very, very perceptive, especially if it's a more of like an independent artist who like they're used to you writing it and you literally producing it. I mean, you do all your own beats and stuff too, so it's like they can tell when you didn't write.
Yeah, I think I would never go back to like chasing that thing. And I think if anything now, like I think what I've learned from writing with other artists is like, if that's something you want, there's ways to sort of like make something that's very true to you and something that's not fake sounding and something that's not cheesy, while still like almost like checking the boxes of like what could make it like mainstream acceptable.
But also like what makes it a Ready Set song.
Exactly.
You know, like what makes it you.
I think that's why like producing all my own stuff has to always be the thing, because then that's what makes it that. I can make it sound like whatever, just as long as there's like, you know, me doing it, it'll be.
Well, I mean, like you also have to remember that like you didn't expect Love Like Whoa to be a hit. Like you didn't write that song to be a hit. So you have to remember that's like, okay, well I didn't expect that one. So if you just write a song,
Yeah,
it's be a hit.
Like 20 minutes.
Right on. There you go.
Makes me feel like I just need to like stop trying.
You just well, no, but like I see all the sound, like the SoundCloud rap scene, and like all those guys are like, yeah, I like stumbled in the studio and wrote that in 7 minutes. It's just like, and it's all like that. It's so
perfect though.
It's so just
pure.
It's so fluid. Yeah. It's like, so maybe people just need to stop caring so much. I don't know. Maybe everyone should just stop caring and just
let's try to make bad stuff. And when you try to,
and then you'll be a massive commercial success.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I know it's a perfect model. But as far as like the industry, so like I remember you talked about like Spotify and streaming and how you didn't really know where it was going 4 or 5 years ago. But like, do you like the state it's in now? Like, you're really in, like, because it's obviously, it went through a couple weird years where like artists weren't getting paid that much, but now it seems like everyone's getting.
Yeah, it's great.
It's definitely money.
Like, it's definitely better than people thought it was going to be. I think when it first came out, and like to some extent, that's like the new radio. Like there's so many people
like if you get put on a big playlist or something, it's like that's almost better than the radio.
Yeah, definitely can. I mean, people are like, I don't know, people are making more money from it now, and it's like in a way sort of like scooped the music industry back up, and it's like everyone can have money now again.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like it was a weird like half decade where like everyone was transitioning into streaming and like YouTube and SoundCloud and stuff, and then but I've noticed the past couple of years it's gotten really good.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's a little bit. It's cooler because now you can just put out stuff and put it up, and maybe it'll work. And like you just never know. Like you could just have a random like song that just connects with people, and like
it just happens.
Yeah, millions of plays within a week. You have 1 million plays, and like it's just up from there. And then I don't know, things like that happen, and I think that's exciting. And like anyone can do that. The only problem with it now is the fact that anyone can do it. So now people. It's like,
I mean, there's always going to be people gaming the system, and
like, it gets a little convoluted sometimes. I think I think that's the word, convoluted, but
it works. It works in the context.
It gets like sometimes there's just so much stuff that it's like, well, it's kind of like weed through a lot of stuff that's just like something you can tell is like, this is a Spotify artist. This is a person who wants playlists. And like they have,
like, you got to release that 27 track record, man. Yeah. Every song's like 1.5 minutes. Yeah. That's what people are doing.
Yeah. It's just like, I like short songs though.
Yeah, I do. No, I really like that trend because it's like, I don't know. I just like spending so much time on one. It's nice just to build out one idea. But as far as that, so I don't want to keep you too long. So I have one last thing that I generally end every podcast with, and it's my like one of my favorite films is called Afterlife. It's a Japanese foreign film, and it essentially is that. It's essentially when people die, they go into purgatory.
Wait, what happened? Did somebody just walk in here?
Did somebody just die?
Weird. Somebody just walked in. I think they walked in the wrong apartment.
Are we getting robbed?
We might be getting robbed. That's just what it is.
Okay. And start. No. All right. So the film, it's about being in limbo, and pretty much in limbo, you have to choose one memory from your entire life. In this case, your career, to play in front of you in like a theater setting for the rest of your life when you ascend into heaven. What memory would you pick from your career to play for eternity?
One specific night, I remember we did like.
That was quick. You got normally.
It's one image I always like have kind of in my head. It was like during the last like radio show of like the Christmas like holiday radio show season or whatever. It was like a big festival, and it was in Minneapolis. And the lineup was we were opening, so it was me, Selena Gomez, Maroon 5, Bruno Mars, and Train, and I think Mike Posner too. And I was like, okay, first of all, how the fuck did I end up on this? Because this is insane. And
that's like a big lineup, man.
Yeah, it was wild. And I was talking to my like radio rep from the label who was there, and I was like, is this like a pretty, like, what's the venue like? And he's like, oh, it's like the Target Center. It's an arena. I was like, all right, give me a break. It's like, why? Like, how did this happen?
You haven't played really any like arena
No.
shows.
The biggest show I had done up until then was like 500 people. And so
that's a lot of people.
I was like, okay, this will be kind of fun then. I was like terrified.
It's a different beast.
Yeah. And I just like have this like memory of the first time walking onto like that type of a stage and like just seeing black, but just a bunch of like sparkly like, camera lights and stuff. I was like, this is
how many people?
I think it was like 18,000 or something. I was like, this is the type of thing like
that's like anxiety even thinking about it.
Yeah, I was just like, this is.
Do you think you played all right?
Yeah, I think it was fine. I didn't really. I was like, this is weird, but it just like stays in my head as like this like really like pinnacle moment that like summed up that whole thing I had been working for so long, just to like see that. And obviously it was like for a festival. It wasn't like they were all there to
but
see me.
Still to walk out there and be like,
it was such a cool feeling, and it's like that feeling of something just like culminating into like this moment. I feel like I'm always chasing something that feels like that, which sounds like weirdly dark in a way, but yeah, I don't know. So that would be the thing.
That would be the thing. That's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. Well, do you have anything else you want to say?
I'm probably gonna have some new stuff out soon. I had like an EP done that I was gonna put out like last week, but I didn't do that.
Well, like you're so casual with your releases. How as a
because I finally can be, you know. Like,
yeah, well, like because I mean you're still on Hopeless, yeah. No, you're totally independent.
Yeah.
So that's why you're just. And do you like? I mean, obviously, like releases are very stressful, but like you're like, okay, it's done. Boop.
Pretty much.
That's crazy.
But I don't know. I'm not doing that this time.
No, like I'm assembling
I'm assembling a new team of people to like help me, you know, make it exist outside of just Spotify. So yeah.
Does it need? Yeah. No.
I don't know if it needs to, but I want it to, and like more stuff. Any
music videos? You got it?
Actually, yeah.
You haven't done one in a minute.
2 years.
2 years.
I'm gonna do one. I'm gonna do a couple. I'm just so anxious.
I mean, you do have some good music videos, man. Like you gotta play that up.
I got some bad ones too. Got some bad ones,
dude. Everyone has some. Don't even talk to me about bad music videos. I got some pretty cringy ones.
Yeah, but there'll be more. I'll make good music videos. That's my promise.
Like he's gonna make good music videos. Everyone just watch. But anyway, well, thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. And everyone at home, stay sad but not too sad. All right. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks.